So Judaism revolves around the lunar calendar and around the moon. The majority of the festivals are determined when they happen by the new moon. And the new moon is at its most infinitesimal, at its smallest point, and that's when we sanctify the new moon. So there's one line that stuck out for me in this week's Torah portion in Bo. And in my book, chapter is called Sing to the Moon. We read this verse, 𝚂𝚎𝚌𝚋𝚋𝚊𝚕𝚒𝚒 lechem Rosh Chodeshim Rishon hu lechem lechodshei hashana. So it's saying this month will be for you the head of the month. It will be for you the first month of the year. So basically this month of Nisan that we're reading the Torah in now, where the exodus of the Jews and the plagues and all the things that you might remember from reading this is the first of the month of the year. So the beginning of the calendar cycle and the first of the month is not when creation happened or when we received the Torah at Sinai. Rather, it's Nisan, it's this month that we're in preparation for receiving the Torah. We're leaving Egypt and we're coming toward this redemptive state. And so too, we learn about the waxing and waning of the moon, what it means that we're saying Mikudash, Mikudash, sanctifying this moon, this new moon, when it's at its most infinitesimal and not when it's at its grandest. So what it's saying is this waxing and waning of the moon and this sanctification when it's at its most small and potential is us seeing the potential in ourselves and sanctifying that and realizing that these ups and downs in our journey are also mirroring this moon and mirroring this element that is connected to spirituality, and realizing that if we sanctify that and if we see that potential and realize the redemptive state and the redemptive part of the story is coming, then we can align ourselves in full faith, realizing that every descent is for the purpose of an ascent. So the Yerida always comes before the Aliyah. So the first of the month isn't marked by receiving the Torah, but rather the preparation. It's this idea of this journey of always heading toward the light and realizing that there's darkness before that. And I'll just read one little paragraph from the book. And it's interesting, the Jewish relationship to the moon and everything that revolves around that. While the Egyptians served the sun, one of their gods, a static, unchanging element, the Jewish practice is to see the potential of constant rebirth, that the cycle brings holiness. Therefore, all of our festivals and rituals revolve around that practice, around the new moon. The expanding and contracting of the moon is just our perception, as the moon actually remains whole. It's just our perception that changes. In our own lives, so much of the bad or good are our own perceptions and reactions to that which is around us and within ourselves. We remain whole even when we feel broken. And this is something that we have to remember at all times. Shifting that perception and that perspective on whatever we're going through, and realizing that if we keep continuously tapping into that little speck and that little goodness, that little nefesh elokit, the godliness that exists within ourselves, then we can align ourselves with that. Then it'll fully bring out light in our own lives and bring us back into alignment, into emunah and bitachon, full faith and trust in God. And that's when we can bring the redemptive state. Shabbat shalom, love you guys.